around the world.
I know you're gonna dig this.
I'm telling you, it's real.
You're listening to BRANDCAST Around the World with me, your host, Brandon Berkeley. Join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Brand new! You're listening to Brand.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you. Every time I hear that song or I sing that song or whatever, it always reminds me of a Viagra commercial. I don't know about you, but a while back, I remember the advertising was always for a Viagra commercial. Anyways, what's up? I'm Brandon Berkeley, your host of BRANDCAST Around the World. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. We've got some interesting topics and some beautiful people are joining me in the chat this morning, which makes me very happy to see. I always love seeing some new faces, some old faces, and everything in between. So what's up to everybody? Hello, good morning. JD, Mano, Mandy, Derek, anybody else that might be in the chat lurking. Good to see you. Good morning, Dominique. Good to see everybody. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I hope there was some eventful things happening, apparently with some really good weather. The world seems to be opening up, coming back to normal, at least from my perspective, in my view. Something that we're going to be talking about today, actually. It seems that in Ontario, we're going to be opening up a week earlier. We were supposed to be held back movie theaters, restaurants, gyms. Everything is going to be opening up for everybody, I believe, this Friday, which is huge news. People are sick and tired of sitting inside, so this is going to be absolutely awesome. I'm wondering what it's going to be like to go sit in a movie theater again. I'm hoping that that's going to be an amazing experience. Hopefully you guys like this new little pink version of the chat that I did today. No specific reason. I just figured we'd switch it up every once in a while to have some different colors. Maybe that will brighten your day. So I hope pink brightens your day this morning. It's the vibrant color of the day. Actually, it's funny. All these branding colors, the vibrant green, the neon kind of pink, and black and white are my branding colors right now. And things that I'm trying to put together for... I don't really want to give a spoiler on this, but I'm going to because we talked about it yesterday, and I'll get into this as well as some boxing gear, some custom boxing gear that I'm looking at getting. We have been doing a lot of different boxing with different friends and whatnot. Yesterday discussed doing a possible event coming up where we would box each other as a live stream red carpet event. We thought that that could be really cool. Derek might slap me in the face for not having discussed this with him yet, but yeah, it's something we kind of discussed, but not entirely. So I think he was on board for the idea as well, as if I recall yesterday, we slightly spoke about that. But I think it'd be a really good idea. If you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know, because we could definitely set up a card, have a really fun night, and then that way it's between friends and it's a little bit more safe, I'll say, for us to start for our amateur careers. So with gyms and everything opening up, that means everybody can get back into shape. It means we can fully get back into Batman: A Dark Knight Until Dawn production, which is very, very exciting. I've been waiting for this a long time. Yesterday, I once I finished my workouts, I fully dedicated my day, mostly actually, to writing up one little last scene that I had for Batman. I had to go and do some rewrites. So I think I'm finally comfortable, or pretty comfortable, with where it is. And now we can step forward, and it's just really exciting. I want to put on the Batman costume. It makes you feel badass. I remember when we were doing some test shoots and whatnot, putting it on in front of everybody. I remember walking into the room and people said, like, wow. I remember their initial reaction they were very impressed, which is a good initial reaction, considering, when you put on a Batman costume, you feel kind of silly initially. But yeah, anyways, let's take a look at some of the topics that I picked for us today. I don't know if you guys watched this. Speaking of fights, this weekend UFC 264 went down, and it was a great card. There's some really good fights, actually. As predicted, Sean Sugar O'Malley won over Chris Motino, I think you pronounced it, the green-haired guy. They both had colorful hair, but the rainbow-haired came out on top. Sean O'Malley seems to be really coming up. He's got really, really long arms. I think that's a benefit to him. Another fight that I was really interested in watching was Stevie Wonderboy Thompson versus Gilbert Burns. Unfortunately, Stevie Wonderboy was my pick. I'm a big Taekwondo fan, being a practitioner of Taekwondo and just enjoying that. I was really hoping he would come out on top and kind of make Taekwondo more predominant in the UFC, but unfortunately Burns got him, and that was it. But the big stoppage of the night happened between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier, which I was talking about earlier. Very excited for the fight. I didn't really have a dog in the fight. I didn't really care who won. I just wanted to see a really good fight. It seemed like Poirier really trained for this. I think he was ready for it. They had a game plan and a strategy for him to come out strong in the first and second, just like Conor would against him. And unfortunately for Conor, I should have pulled up this footage, and I probably still can, but Conor just destroyed his ankle mid-fight. He went to go for a punch, he missed the punch, and he went back on his back leg, and his ankle like literally just snapped like this. It's absolutely disgusting. The UFC played the replay at least 19, 20 times, so you can definitely go and find it somewhere on the internet if you haven't seen it already. But man, I seen Conor McGregor this morning talking about it. He says he's in good shape, and the surgery went well, and yada yada yada. And I'm just thinking, oh, this is probably a career ender for him. It's going to be something that'll definitely slow him down in the future. There's probably some muscle damage due to the fact that a bone ripped inside of your body, or ripped or fractured, whatever. Apparently it was a clean break, but yeah, there's some questions whether the break or fracture was caused by Dustin himself. Conor disputes this, saying that no, it's just something freak accident. I stepped on it funny or whatever, rolled the ankle. But I don't know. Dustin might have actually had some good plans. They were talking about checking his kicks and whatnot. And you know what? Maybe Poirier went in there with a really strong strategy. He took the W, so he's got it for now. It was funny that I seen Jake Paul in headlines taunt Conor McGregor. He wants this fight, and I think honestly it's gonna happen. Jake Paul, is it Jake Paul, the younger one? Yeah, I think it's Jake Paul. Yeah, Jake Paul. He has a Conor McGregor chain that he paid $100,000 for. This gold chain with enamel. I don't know why people get gold and then paint enamel over it, like plastic enamel. It's like, what's the point? You might as well just put silver underneath it. Anyways, so he gets this Conor McGregor pennant of Conor being knocked out holding a bottle of NyQuil with a diamond chain. It's worth $100K. And he tweets, Dustin Poirier, if you want this chain, let me know and I'll send it to you. So Dustin Poirier replied and accepted the chain. So the drama continues in the UFC, and I think it's kind of smart. I think a long time ago, Chael Sonnen brought in the idea of having, heels and faces like the WWF or WWE used to do a long time ago, where you have these real feuds. And it does sell fights. People love drama. And I'm not going to be, stereotypical here, but I truly believe that, this brings girlfriends or boyfriends or whoever's not interested in the sport out, So if you can draw so much more attention with that kind of like spectacle and fireworks and glam. That's just my thoughts. I think they're really moving into a new stage of trying to promote on a different level, using some of that spectacle, like I think Vince McMahon kind of realized long, long ago. What's up, Kieran? Welcome to the chat. Mandy's saying it reminds her of the Anderson Silva. Yeah, that's what even Conor said in the middle of it. He's like, oh, it's a freak accident like Anderson Silva. So, yeah, it can happen, I guess. I don't know if it's caused by overtraining, weak muscle or what. Like, I know, sitting at the 156, I think they came at 156 pounds, both of them. It's you're definitely a lighter weight, meaning you got less body fat on you. So the potential for damage is a lot, greater, I feel. But at the same point, I don't know. Small guys are faster. It's like I'm learning, doing a lot of fight training right now for myself. I thought I wanted to be this big, bulking guy, and then I realized that I have a lot of speed and power in being smaller. So, there's different benefits and different body shapes, like ectomorph, mesomorph, and what's the other one? The other one, morph. There's a lot of different kind of shapes and sizes, so it's really interesting to see how that kind of outcomes. Looking at Silva, he was also kind of a slender kind of guy. I wonder what plays into that, because it's not like there's a lot of weight against them. I do feel like it's got to be, wear and tear over time, or, having kicks checked constantly and whatnot. This also reminds me tonight, I'm going to kind of put the vote here, because you guys are the ones that care the most. I'm going to be doing some gaming tonight, so we can do Battlefront again. I think we've had a lot of that. Or the UFC 4 game came out on EA Pass, and I can play that. I actually did start playing it a little bit last night, and it's a lot more in-depth than the previous one. I mean, you do training and whatnot, but it's not where you just click a button and you do whatever. You actually have to fight people and go through different stages of whatnot. There's more of a storyline to it. It's kind of fun. So it's up to you guys what you want to see for gaming, because it is completely in your hands. I enjoy anything, but I really do enjoy those. So if you want to see me kick the shite out of some people, let me know, and we'll do that. Or get knocked out. I might turn up the difficulty, because I do hate knocking out people with no effort. Kind of becomes a little boring at points. All right. What else do we have? So there's fires spreading across the globe, it seems, especially in Canada, in BC. There's a lot of talk of global warming and the issues that we're facing. I think they're becoming a lot more noticeable. Like, I mean, when I go outside now, it seems like it's way hotter. We had a very, very hot May and June, so I'm just kind of... I'm wondering what it's going to be like in the next few years. I have a lot of friends that are telling me they don't want to have kids because they're worried that, the planet's going to burn to a crisp, or just all this other shit's going to be happening. Like COVID seems to be like a great example of like Mother Nature just being like, like kind of just being pissed off. I wonder where we're going to be in the next little bit. I still know people that when I talk to them, they say, global warming. It's usually the older generation. They think it's fake and that we can still pump out as much pollution. They seem to be kind of ignorant to the fact, it's almost like money is more important than survival. But I guess if you're at the end of your life and you don't give a shit, that's pretty selfish. But I mean, at the same point, I think a lot of people on this planet do kind of have that inward thinking, Yeah, a lot of people just, I don't know, I've noticed that it's almost like a competition, as people don't realize like you gain more from like helping people or having a good, what's the word? Like a good like social presence. If everybody respects you, you get more. It's like, I think a lot of people are so greedy, or it's like the need for survival. It's like everybody's got this need for survival, so they try to like take things from people or like hoard things. And I think like honestly, that's the wrong way to be. I've always said if like everybody took care of everybody, you'd have your neighbor. If your neighbor was hungry, you could help feed them, and then vice versa, they'd do something for you. It's kind of like that system. But it's nature. I don't think that really exists in nature. It's not like you see bears in the wild saying, "Oh, let me help you get some berries and stuff." They'll murder the next cub because it was a slightly different color or shade. It's just like, yeah, they I don't know, kind of makes you think. But we're smarter than that, though, right? We have the ability to think beyond bears. I would assume, we're not going around doing whatever. But I knew we're animalistic in some sense. But I think we've evolved from that. I think, especially being beings that are travel beyond the stars and whatnot, we do need to kind of civilize ourselves. Because the worst thing I thought about, if we ever went and we tried to colonize a different planet, we found different life forms, even like a smaller life form. Let's say some kind of like species that existed on a planet. We just come in and we just say, like, just like we do with everything else, like, get the fuck out. We just come and take over, or just, put them in cages and zoos and whatnot. Or I kind of look at like the indigenous people. It's like, we just kind of go and take over their land because we assume that we're better. Humans have this weird kind of mentality, It's really, really odd mentality of like me first. But that's what it is. Global warming's coming. It's going to crisp us all up. You might as well get some marshmallows and some Hershey chocolates. Make some goddamn s'mores while we're burning up on this place. It's probably what happened to the dinosaurs. I imagine dinosaurs were preparing. They probably had s'mores ready to go. I could see a T-Rex with their little tiny arms trying to just make s'mores over a fire. I would love that. Just got a text message in the middle of my stream. I always feel like that's going to be something bad. It's like somebody's texting me, or Derek's texting me to let me know that everything's gone bad. The stream's horrible. You said something awful, or you can't hear me, or something like that. God damn, took me off topic. Maybe global warming will take out cell phones, and then we won't have any more streaming or any... Oh, shit. That would be bad. It's probably going to happen, though, with the solar flares. You guys remember, what was it, in 2011 or something like that? There's a big solar flare that took out, like, the power grid on the East Coast. And basically everybody was without power, and all their food went bad. I remember one benefit of that is when all the power was out, all the light pollution was gone. So there was no lights in the city. And I remember looking up in the stars in the middle of the city, walking with my friend Jen Cormier and Mark Scopazzi, who was my next door neighbor. We walked around the neighborhood, and it was beautiful. You could see the gases in the sky if you went to certain elevated points, and it was like, wow. Imagine living, hundreds of years ago when light pollution didn't exist, and you could see all that stuff. And they used to be so into astrology, and, it's like, I almost envy that a little bit. I feel like every so often the city should just like turn off all the power so we could adore where we exist. Yeah, I almost feel like we've forgotten. We're so obsessed with the things in front of us. The Lamborghini, the clothing, the working. Our relationships, everything. That you kind of forget that, like, holy shit, we're so insignificant on this spectrum. You know what I mean? There's so much crazy shit going out there. Like right now in the universe, there could be like a war going on, like an alien war, or like a star exploded somewhere and it's engulfing other planets, and a black hole is being formed from it. It's absolute chaos. I think a lot of people don't think beyond their front door, and I think that's kind of sad in a way. I watch documentaries most evenings. I find them to be more interesting than the things we kind of experience, like life on repeat. That's what I think sitcoms are, like, jokes in the middle of the things that we all experience that are relatable. And I guess we like watching that. It's not for me usually. I have so many friends that always tell me, oh, you should watch this show on Netflix and catch up on this one and watch this one and this one. It's like, if there's no intrigue, if there's no depth to it, I can't really sit there and watch it. I'm not the type to just absorb something that has like no... That's not true. I'm lying. I'm totally lying. I love some of the Marvel and Avenger movies. I love the roller coaster ride sometimes, but I think I do. Some of my favorite movies are always the ones that have that cerebral kind of pull to it, like American History X or something. Like something that when you left the movie theater or when you watched it, whatever, you streamed or whatever, when you finished watching that piece of art, it took you away afterwards. You talked about it with your friends. It made you think about it the next day. It had an impact on you of some sort. Those are the type of films that I feel like are really interesting. And, sometimes they're not always cerebral. Like, I think about it like Sin City or a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies in general just are amazing because they're so brash and dumb. They take, like, realistic stories and twist them, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't watched that one fully. I've seen pieces. I've seen the end of it, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. I give Quentin credit. I listened to a podcast with him the other day, Joe Rogan. He's got a really interesting perspective, but I think the one thing I noticed that Joe seemed kind of ribbing on him. I think Joe caught him in a few lies. That I think you get to a certain point that you're in your own bullshit, because Joe was asking him about MMA and different martial arts, and if he really studied that when he was doing the films, and Quentin says, oh yeah, totally. And Joe is just probing him for questions, and then you could hear Joe kind of go like, oh yeah, and like his whole tone changed towards him. Then slightly after the podcast ended, so I think Joe kind of felt like he might have been talking on his ass. I might have just been vibing that and feeling that myself, but that's what I really feel like happened. I don't know. So something really interesting, actually, this is local news to me in Sudbury, Ontario, but we have this group that's trying to help people. I'm sure you guys have this locally as well. It seems like there's a big heroin or opiate problem, one and the same. And, we have these injection sites. They're giving away free needles, or they are setting up like tent areas for people to safely inject heroin. And, I'm 50-50 on this. I know like people need to be safe and all this, and you don't want to spread disease into the community, which is like the big concern. But at the same point, it causes trouble. So locally, this group that has been trying to help people has now dealt with 9 stabbings in the last few days. Somebody was assaulted with a bag of bricks, and then somebody set one of the tents on fire while somebody was inside doing heroin. It's like, I imagine that'd be a fucking trip, sitting there trying to inject heroin. I assume it's very relaxing. I've never done heroin myself, but you'd sit there, nodding off or whatever, and all of a sudden the fucking tent goes up in flames. Like, you're thinking, oh, it's global warming. It's been so fucking hot. That's what I would probably think initially, especially if you're high on heroin. But, I think all these heroin addicts pretty much have, a vendetta for each other. That almost makes me think like a Quentin Tarantino movie right there, like a fight with needles or something. Shit. That would be crazy. Yeah, no, but it's kind of insane, because I think some of these heroin sites are attracting more violence and attention. You're kind of like feeding the problem. Whereas I feel like if you're going to spend money on something like this, then rehabilitation should be the first option, in my opinion. Methadone is out there. I know companies profit from that. Like, I think it's crazy that the same companies who make these opiates also supply like Narcan, which is like the overdose thing that you give people if they're overdosing on this. You just like stab them with it, or I don't even know. I've never seen it. But apparently you can go to the drugstores and pick it up for free. It's free locally. So our Canadian government pays for that. So these drug companies are making hand over fist. They're making the disease and then the cure. Like, how messed up and backwards is that? Knowing just that there's, like, watch, this podcast is going to get shut off the air for talking about this kind of stuff. But I think it's so crazy that, you know, this kind of shit goes on in the world, and it's totally acceptable. We have people that are absolutely addicted. It's getting worse in many places, especially in the United States, due to a higher populace. We got to do something about this, and fast. You know, we got to nip it in the bud. It seems like a lot of people, or a lot of doctors, make money off this. I had a friend, Dave Sylvester, who was a doctor, and he actually, Cash Monkey Gaming, JD in here might know, well, he knows who I'm talking about. He was a doctor, and he used to sell pills and whatever, and they would basically give him vacations and all this other stuff, and then he stopped doing it, and he became a medicinal kind of guy, like very herbal. He actually had a farm with, like, I don't know what it was, 10 acres of marijuana plants that he was using to try to help, like, cure cancer, diabetes, other stuff, and he was giving away for free. So I remember he got arrested for that. They came and they confiscated or whatever, burned down the farm. And I went to his court hearing. I have a picture with him at his court hearing. And I remember the prosecutor said, the judge himself said, you know, I think what you're doing is commendable. It's great. I see the benefit in marijuana and the health benefits. And this is coming from somebody in the law before it was legal at all, legal, even recreationally here. It's about 10 years ago. And the judge says, but unfortunately, due to the crown being, the queen and the whatever bullshit, I don't know why we have her on our money and stuff. Due to the crown, I have to give you the minimum sentence or whatever. And so he did, but he gave him like probation, like house probation. And Dave, being the badass that he was, even though he's an older gentleman, basically said fuck house arrest, and he was out and about doing whatever. I think he's in Mexico right now. When the COVID lockdown hits, he was like, fuck this, I'm gonna do whatever. Dave was a badass. Shout out to Dave Sylvester if he sees this right now. He played the doctor. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh, Bernie. I can't, my own film and I'm forgetting it. Yeah, Bernie in 15 Keys, the one who died. Spoiler alert. So he's a badass. I love that dude. I remember when I was going through chemotherapy, he came up to me and he was like, yeah, man, I can help you out with some other alternative medicines and whatnot. And I said, ooh, maybe. I was interested, but I didn't actually end up doing it. Went through chemotherapy. That was a bitch. I'll talk about that another time, but I'll definitely get into the cancer experience that I had. I think how humbling it is to see kids going through that and stuff. It's like, oof. Chemotherapy is a bitch. I was reading up about that the other day, but I'm going to save that for a podcast in itself. I think we'll go into some larger details about it. But that's going to be it for me today. These are the topics that I've got for you. It's a little bit of a shorter show, but I hope it was a good one for you. Definitely getting some rhythm with this, I feel. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy spending these mornings with everybody. Hopefully you're ingesting these topics and enjoying it on a shorter level. I think maybe an hour-long podcast is too long. Just kind of going with the flow. Hopefully you guys are okay with that. And we'll keep going. Like I said, we'll definitely try to bring some guests on. But that's going to be in a couple weeks, as there's a lot to be taken on right now. And I don't want to be overwhelmed. So anyways, visit www.brandb.ca, my website, where you can sign up. Create your own social profile where we contact each other. You can message each other. Instant messaging has been enabled on there. A lot of updates are coming. If you're a member, you get access to exclusive gaming, exclusive ASMR, exclusive red carpet events, yada, yada, yada. We're going to be making a lot of changes over the next couple months, so be a part of that change. Let us know what you want to see, because your input is greatly appreciated. And the more you kind of keep in touch with me, the better. So I appreciate it. And we will see you again this evening. If you're going to tune in for gaming, let me know what you want to see there. If not, we'll see you Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Take care of yourselves. Be excellent to each other. See you on the next one.
Brand new! You're listening to BRANDCAST around the world. I know you're gonna dig this.
I'm saying it. It's real.
You're listening to BRANDCAST around the world with me, your host, Brandon Berkeley. Join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Brand new! You're listening to